What's up everyone, Darcblade here with a massive information video for Monster Hunter World. This is regarding the spring update for the game. Now Capcom recently put on a live stream going over all the content that would be coming to Monster Hunter World over the next month or so. And there is a lot. So in this video we'll go over the majority of content that's coming to the game. Now the live stream unfortunately was in Japanese and my understanding of Japanese is very limited, so you may have to take bits of this with a pinch of salt as I may have mistranslated them or misunderstood slightly. Anyway, the first bit of information that we should go over is DEVILJHO, the new monster added to the game for free. This returning behemoth from previous Monster Hunter games is finally set to return, and we've been given a date to when this is occurring. DEVILJHO will be introduced to the game on the 22nd of March 2018. So that is literally just around the corner. It's just over a week away on a Thursday. Now DEVILJHO is a very aggressive monster, dealing dragon attacks, as well as, from the looks of it, even using monsters as weapons against hunters. This of course is referring to smaller monsters like Kuluyaku and Great Jagras that were demonstrated in the live stream. On top of that as well, there was even a new turf war between Betelgeuse and DEVILJHO, which looked very visceral. Now along with the new monster being added, there will be weapons and armor sets to go with it. Now the way DEVILJHO works is that he will invade 6 and 7 star quests as well as high rank expeditions once you have finished the Rathian main story quest. So he is more than likely going to pop up uninvited, similar in a way maybe to how Betelgeuse works. This is pretty much how DEVILJHO worked in previous games. But anyway, after completing certain conditions as well, you will unlock the DEVILJHO special assignment, where you can actually specifically take him on. It was definitely nice seeing the pickle monster in the game once more, and while some of his moves seem similar to Anjanath, in some respect DEVILJHO probably influenced the creation of Anjanath in the first place. It also was nice to see him retain some of his moves from the previous Monster Hunter games as well. The gear and armor you can craft from DEVILJHO also looks very stylish. Although we didn't get to see every weapon in action, we got to see the greatsword as well as the female armor. Now as I said, DEVILJHO will be released on the 22nd of March, but alongside that will be a balance patch, not only adjusting the majority of weapons but also bringing some quality of life changes to the game. Now we weren't given specific numbers to what the changes were when it came to the weapons, but from the information we were given, the greatsword has had its damage increased for its charged slash abilities. So its charged slash 2 and 3, as well as the strong charged slash 2 and 3, have all had their damage increased. Next, with the longsword, they made improvements to the foresight slash input timing and hitbox detection. So basically the time window to succeed and trigger the foresight slash correctly has been increased, as well as the hitbox in order to actually trigger the effect. This has also been increased. On top of that, the damage hitbox for the foresight slash has also been increased, as well as the angle that players can control the direction of the attack. And finally with the longsword, they fixed a bug with the Spirit Helm Breaker that when used you should now be properly immune to knockback until you land on the ground. Next, with the sword and shield, the round slash damage has been increased and there has been improved slinger usability. So basically the round slash, the damage has been increased, and wedge beetles can now be used when you're using the slinger and your weapon is drawn. Next, with the hammer, they've adjusted the various stun values of your charged attacks. These include the charged upswing tier 2, the charged brutal upswing tier 2, and the charged Big Bang tier 3. So all of these attacks have had their stun values increased. Next, with the hunting horn, the general attack power of this weapon has been increased, and also when you're doing a self-improvement melody, if you perform the encore move, it will also increase your attack power. The effect will now be attack up plus deflected attack prevention. So a nice overall buff. Next, with the gun lance, they've reduced sharpness lost for shelling attacks and made some attack power increases. So basically shelling, the damage parameters have been increased when sharpness is yellow or worse. Also the sharpness loss has been alleviated for all Wormstake Cannon and Wyvern's Fire attacks. The Wormstake Cannon has had its damage increased, as well as the Wyvern's Fire. Next, with the Switch Axe, its zero sum discharge has been adjusted to make it easier to use. For example, when performing this, you will now gain level 4 earplugs during this attack. It is also now possible to chain the beginning of the sword jumping elemental discharge into zero sum discharge. Also the zero sum discharge finisher, its damage has been increased. Also the mounted discharge finisher no longer causes sharpness loss. And finally, with the zero sum discharge, they've fixed a bug issue that when using it, you should now be properly immune to knockback until your hunter lands on the ground. Next, with the charge blade, they've made various balance adjustments to impact files and power element files. Firstly, attack power increases from effects other than the artillery skill have been adjusted, whilst in axe mode, the super amped elemental discharge, the stun values have been decreased for impact files. Also, the file stun values have been increased for all attacks other than the super amped elemental discharge. Also, elemental values have been increased for all attack files, and finally the super amped elemental discharge, the power elemental file explosions are now spaced closer together, making it easier for all the files to actually hit a monster. Next, with the insect glaive, they've made improvements to the extract attack power increase and the extract buff length. So basically, like I've said, they've improved the attack power increase for when you have red and white or red, white and orange extract effects. Also, the extract buff times have been increased overall, and also the extract buffs no longer decrease while you're mounting a monster. Next, with the lance, they've only really made one adjustment. They made it easier to use. Basically, the counter thrust, while performing this, you will now gain temporary knockback negation when you are successful in pulling off a counter thrust. With the dual blades, they made it easier for you to maintain the demon gauge. Basically, the demon gauge can now be increased by demon mode round slashes and the demon flurry rush. Also, whilst in demon mode, they fixed a bug where you could not cancel demon mode when transitioning from a demon dodge. And next, with the bow, they fixed various bugs. Firstly, the dashing shot. They fixed a bug where the spread/power shot skill effect would be applied twice while doing this move. And they fixed a bug with the dragon piercer where you could shoot past the attack's angle limitations. And then finally, with the heavy and light bow guns, there have been no adjustments made to these two weapons. So as you can see, there have been lots of buffs rather than nerfs to the weapons in the game, which is always nice to hear. It's nice to hear when there are more buffs than nerfs. But I'll go into much more detail regarding these changes, as well as my thoughts on them closer to the time when the update actually drops next week. Now, as for the quality of life changes that come with this update, we've been given information that they've optimized data processing to reduce overall load times of the game. They've also added in the options a text size setting that enables you to change subtitle text. This is under the start menu under option game settings. They've also, and one I've actually quite pleased for, they've added a return to gathering hub option when you finish a quest. This is for both single and multiplayer. So it means you'll return to the gathering hub where hopefully you'll see a few more players. And then finally, attacks from allies will no longer interrupt you during a carving animation. This is probably to prevent trolls preventing you from carving a monster. Also with this update is the ability to alter your character's physical appearance. Now you'll get to do this for free for the first time, but afterwards you're going to have to pay for it. Now this is your physical appearance. At the moment you can change your hair, your beard, whatever for free in your room. The physical appearance really applies to if you want to change maybe your gender or actually something physical about your face or something like that. So before using your one free change, consider if you really want to use it. If you just want to change your hair, then just simply go to your room, to your item box and do it there. Now, whilst the patch and DEVILJHO will be coming on the 22nd of March, there will be an event going on from the 6th of April through to the 20th of April called the Spring Blossom Fest. This will have various items added to the game, as well as more activities for players to take part in. Now firstly, whilst this event is going on, players who log in for their daily login will now receive 2 lucky vouchers instead of 1. You will also notice that the Gathering Hub has been given a makeover. It is now covered with spring blossoms, so there's flowers everywhere, as well as a giant Poogie made out of flowers in the centre of the hub. You will also be able to get an outfit for your Poogie, which makes him look like a little bee, and there will also be multiple gestures added, as well as stickers and such, but I assume there may be a little bit of a microtransaction behind some of these. Now during the Spring Blossom event we'll have a chance to take on previously released event quests, so these will all be available at once. However, there will be some exceptions. And on top of that as well, all the NPCs in the Gathering Hub and that will have outfits fit for this occasion. Like for example, the Palicos are running around in little butterfly outfits. Anyway, on top of that as well, during this Spring Blossom event we'll have some more content added. Firstly, they've added a new greatsword called the Wyvern's Ignition, which looks like a rocket-powered greatsword. This was a result of a community competition to design a weapon. This will be introduced on the 6th of April when the event starts. And on top of that, during the second week of the event, on the 13th of April, the Mega Man crossover event will occur. This allows you to earn items to customize your Palico, making them turn into a blocky Mega Man. This is done in an event quest, which has you taking on 2 Adogorons. Now these Adogorons are special, one is really tiny, one is really big. For completing this you'll get tokens which you can then take to the armory to craft the Mega Man armor for your little furry friend. On top of that, depending on what weapon you're using as well, the music will change for the event quest. Now they also showed off the Devil May Cry crossover event trailer again, but unfortunately there was no indication of when this may be. There was some hints, I believe, that it may be around the summer update, but we'll have to wait and see, as there was nothing concrete. They also talked a lot about various events going on in Japan regarding various cafes and bars, as well as the Monster Hunter tournament over in Japan. But if you're interested in that, then I'll leave a link down in the description below because, well, like I said, I didn't understand all of it. But anyway, that's about it for the information that was given during the spring live stream. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be more concrete information over the next few hours and days in that as people translate what was going on from the live stream. But I believe I've managed to get the majority of the most important bits of information. I personally am excited to see that they're not nerfing many of the weapons, they're actually buffing the vast majority of them. And I'm also pleased to see DEVILJHO in action. It should also be noted as a little side hint as well, with DEVILJHO, they tried to pitfall trap him during the live stream, and let's just say that doesn't entirely work 100% on him. He'll still be able to attack you whilst he's in the hole, which could make this fight interesting. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this update? Leave a comment down below. And until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you an information video regarding the spring update in Monster Hunter World. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.